Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on the Real Estate Podcast. I'm Todd Sumney, the Chief Industry Officer for HomeSmart International. Today is part 2 of a 4-part series about how to market and conduct live virtual real estate events in the midst of today's current business environment. Virtual real estate events, live virtual showings, live virtual open houses, live virtual caravan tours, even listing presentations and appointments is so important. So we are playing for you today the audios of some trainings that we conducted on how to conduct these live virtual real estate events. So the previous episode, part 1, was all outlining the opportunity and the plan, how to adapt, what are these virtual events, and what's the plan for us as real estate professionals to execute and conduct these plans with consumers. Today's episode, part 2, is how to market live virtual events, live virtual showings, live virtual open houses. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We all know how to do traditional open houses. And if we want people to show up at our open houses, we have to promote them ahead of time. We have to do email marketing, social media marketing, call people, print marketing, postcards, signage, all kinds of marketing ahead of time, and even MLS marketing, marketing on the web portals. We have to get the word out that we are doing an open house. We have to dazzle people. We have to get them when they show up at the event. How do we capture their contact information? Do we get them to sign a sign-in sheet? How is it that we actually get them to engage with us? One of the agents that I know, Tina Valiant in Phoenix, Arizona, she is amazing, teaches some classes on 16 steps to holding an amazing virtual open house or an amazing open house. She's adapted that curriculum now to do virtual open houses. One of the things she talks about when you're dazzling or you're working with customers during the event is one of the first things you do is tell the story of the home. You get the customer engaged with the home and you tell the story of the home seller, and you begin to drive engagement with the prospect. And then afterwards you convert and you actually hopefully result in a contract and a writing of that property that you're showing. Well, when we move things virtual, we still have to do the same things. We still have to promote, we still have to dazzle, we still have to convert. It's just this time we're doing it virtually. So step number 1 in marketing, all of you need to know how to market your properties by using consistent verbiage and consistent wording. Now, the MLSs have adopted all of this wording, and I want to clarify a couple things. So, and this is why you need to use consistent verbiage. So if we just use the words open house, the consumer thinks, oh, open houses have been around forever. And the MLS is even wanting to make a distinction between a traditional open house and a new open house. And as well as when you use the words, oh, a virtual tour. Everyone will say, a consumer will say, hey, those virtual tours have been around forever. That's where you take the photographs, you stitch them together with music, they're pre-recorded. Well, the MLSs are showing there's a designation between a live virtual realtor tour and a virtual tour, and or just a virtual tour. So we've learned from agents in the last 3 weeks who have done showings and have begun to market their properties. If they just say virtual tour, people don't understand it's new. And what they've started to adopt is this consistent verbiage, and your MLSs are asking for it too. So I want to read you a couple things. What is an open house? An open house is a scheduled event as a designated time where an agent holds an open house for potential buyers to walk through. It's also called a physical showing or a traditional in-person open house. What is a live virtual open house? A live virtual open house is a live scheduled event for a designated amount of time where an agent holds the house open but is hosting it virtually by posting an invitation link or sending out an invite via virtual meeting software. Here, the home seller or the agent is the one physically at the listing and giving the tour of the property to prospective buyers and prospective buyer agents virtually via virtual meeting software. The open house audience can view the live stream, interact with the agent, ask questions. Agents can even share files and other information and screens as well. This verbiage is coming from your MLSs who basically want to say, when you're in the MLS and you want to designate it as virtual, it needs to be virtual. When you want to designate it as just a traditional open house, you need to designate it that way. And what is the difference between a live virtual showing and a live virtual open house? A live virtual open house is maybe from noon to 3 p.m. It's 3 hours long. People can come in and go virtually. A live or virtual showing is more of a one-on-one setup between the selling agent and the buyer's agent and the buyers. And it's only set for a set amount of time, say 1 p.m. And so that's where we need to use that consistent verbiage. What is a live virtual realtor tour? A live virtual realtor tour is a live scheduled event when an agent shows a group of buyers agents, potentially 40 buyers agents, virtually shows a property using virtual meeting software like Zoom, FaceTime, etc. So remember when we used to go around and we'd do caravans and we'd go car after car and we'd follow to an event, we'd go look at 8 different homes on a home tour. Well, now we are doing those tours live virtually via virtual meeting software. So again, that's different than a traditional virtual tour. This is what your MLSs are saying. A virtual tour is a digital walkthrough of a property by way of a slideshow or pre-recorded video. It is not scheduled, and virtual tours still go in the old section of the MLS. Live virtual goes in the new sections of the MLS and the new searchable fields. Am I making sense? So, well, also lastly, what is a live virtual listing appointment? A live virtual listing appointment is where prospective buyers and sellers meet virtually via prospective meeting software. You're not going into their living room anymore. You're doing it virtually. So those are the consistent verbiage that we should be using. We should be using live virtual open house, live virtual showing, a live virtual realtor tour, and live virtual listing appointments. So now let's take this into marketing. How do we begin to use this verbiage in our marketing and do it effectively? So imagine on an email or a postcard or an email going out about a listing right now, instead of just saying, hey, call to schedule a tour, you now should say, tour this home live from the comfort of your own home. Call or text the number on the yard sign to set up your live virtual showing via Zoom or FaceTime. So this might be signage that accompanies a yard sign in the front yard. And notice how it includes the words Zoom or FaceTime, this meeting software. If you notice, I've been watching Jimmy Fallon at night a little bit lately. And the other night I was watching him and he used the word Zoom like 14 times in one segment. I think he was interviewing the Beastie Boys. And they were all talking about, 6 weeks ago, they didn't even know how to Zoom. And now they're Zooming every day. And Zoom is becoming a word that customers understand. And Zoom is a way of differentiating between the old traditional virtual tour, which was just photograph and music stitched together. Well, now this is a live virtual showing via Zoom or FaceTime. So you're going to want to incorporate that into your training and into your marketing. Another example, tour this home via Zoom or FaceTime from the comfort of your own home. Call or text the number on the yard sign to set up your live virtual showing. Or you would say the same thing, like instead of surfing your TV for movies, tour this home live from the comfort of your own home. Call or text the number on the yard sign to set up your live virtual showing. So are you seeing how to incorporate consistent verbiage then inside of your marketing for live virtual showings? And then notice I switched the screen here. This time you would switch and use the same verbiage, but this time you're talking about a live virtual open house. Or I want to now take it online when you're talking about social media posts or email or postcards or print or MLS remarks, etc. So now what you're going to want to say is you're going to want to include links in an email or in a social media post. So you're going to say, tour this home live from the comfort of your own home. And then you're going to say, click here or call or text or email to see this home during our live virtual open house via Zoom or FaceTime. So let me show you a quick example. The important thing is here, you're including a link. I want to fast forward here 2 slides. I want to show you this. Oh, I don't have it yet. So in a minute, I'm going to show you an example of a Facebook post that is including a link, because that's the difference. You're not just saying call or text me. You're saying click here or click the email below to see this home during a live virtual open house. So how about this? Zoom is becoming such a common word. What about using the phrase in your marketing, like, do you Zoom? And I have this vision someday of maybe doing a cool t-shirt. I'd love to get your feedback in the chat. What do you think about this idea? A t-shirt says, do you Zoom? Ask me about live virtual showings and live virtual open houses from the comfort of your own home. And then it's got a nice HomeSmart logo. Something like that you could all wear around when we stop this social distancing, or we need to incorporate that phraseology into our marketing. So let me know what you think. And we're going to move on. So the first part of marketing is all to use consistent verbiage. And let me know if you guys think that you can do that. Part number 2, how do we market it inside of the MLS? How do we market things virtually? So this is where I would love Billy to unmute himself here if you could. Billy Myers, who created a step-by-step video for all of you and step-by-step instructions that you're all going to have with the PDF that we're going to send you of this presentation, all of you who registered. So real quick, there's 3 MLSs, major MLSs in the country, that between the 3 of them, they cover about 95% of all the MLSs in the United States. The companies are Flex MLS, then you have Paragon MLS, and then you have Matrix MLS. And Matrix is by CoreLogic MLS, and Paragon and Flex MLS. So what we did was we created step-by-step guides for all of you. I don't want Billy to run through too much of it, but let's run through Flex because they're all pretty similar. So Billy, if you could walk them through the step-by-step of Flex MLS.
Yeah, thank you, Todd. So basically, when you're setting up your virtual open house, we'll look at Flex right now. It's going to be very similar to when you were setting up an in-person open house, but there's an additional field and a new open house type that you'll select. So when you're selecting the open house type, you're going to select virtual. And then when after you select, when you have decided to host a live virtual open house and you decide which meeting software you're going to use, you'll be provided an URL link that you will want to share, market the open house out, the live virtual open house out. You'll paste that right in that link URL field. And then once you publish the open house, it'll be published and promoted with a live virtual open house link that you'll be able to click on. Like you can see right here in these 2 fields, you'll see like the open house link. Agents and buyers will be able to click on that link and they'll have access to your video conference meeting when you decide to have it. So yeah, the Flex, the Paragon, and the CoreLogic, they're all.
Oh, one question I had for you, Billy, real quick. Note there in the bottom picture to the right, it says, join my online open house. So did you choose that verbiage, or that verbiage came from the MLS?
That was directly from the MLS.
Right.
So that was how it will appear as agents are searching through open houses that are happening. You'll see, I've seen different ones. So I've seen virtual open house, and online open house, but so I guess it could just be difference between like the different systems. Like here it says live stream URL, and it'll show you the link. But yeah, live virtual open house is how it'll show, and you'll be provided with that link that agents and buyers will be able to click on.
Correct. Yep. And then additionally, Matrix MLS, which is done by run by CoreLogic, you've got actually a virtual public designation. You also have a virtual broker designation, so broker only.
Yeah, so the 2 different types to market that open house, whether to the public or to as strictly just brokers.
Right. So then one of the questions that just came in is back on Flex MLS, and it says, how do you search for Flex on Flex for virtual open houses? Can you search on Zillow for virtual open houses? So I do not know if on Zillow you can search for virtual open houses. Would love it if one of the audience members knows that info, if they could type it into the chat. Otherwise, I'll have to research that. But I do know that within Flex, there are two ways. Okay, so one is you would just search for open houses and it would return all of the open houses, but some open houses would have a blue icon next to them that say that this is a virtual open house, and it have that little blue icon next to it. Since then, I've heard that Flex has actually made the field virtual searchable, but I have not had a chance to either update our slides in this presentation yet or go in and verify how you can actually search. But I was told that Flex MLS made the field searchable. Billy, do you know how to do that by chance?
I know that there was a way in Flex where it says you can, under daily functions on the menu, you'll click tour open houses and you'll enter in your search parameters. So there might be like a key phrase you can type in there, say virtual, and all the virtual ones will show up. I know I want to say if we scroll over to the right or I think Paragon also has it, or just maybe the next one. So I know Paragon can allow you to search the open houses. There's just the instructions are just listed right there.
Right.
Back one more. So right here, yeah, if you're in Paragon, you'll click search icon, then select tour open houses. There's two separate fields. There's status. You're going to want to enter 0. And for live stream field, you'll enter yes. So that'll show all the virtual open houses through Paragon. Yeah, so they're adding the features to search virtual as we're going through all this. So
Right.
we will have to get in there and
so
the
that's why
exact function.
That's why it's important to know. So what we've done is, and there's some questions coming in on the chat, like I'm here in Maryland and we use Bright MLS and use the same tools too. So you are correct. Flex MLS is used in multiple MLSs around the country, as is Paragon, as is Matrix. And basically what is happening is that those three versions of software are used in every MLS. Almost 95% of the MLSs use one of the three. So what we as a team did for all of you is we've created step-by-step guidelines for you. So for Flex MLS, here's the 4-step process. Here's some important notes. And then you also have some additional notes right here on Flex MLS. For Paragon, we have these 4 steps, and then an additional 4 steps and some new screens for how to set it up in MLS. 4 steps on how to set it up, 4 steps how to search in the MLS as well. And then we did the same thing for Matrix, which is CoreLogic's product. Now, with all of these products, or many of them, showing time is included inside of the MLS as well. And showing time is where you would coordinate the showings with the other agent. When you have an agent that reaches out and says, hey, I have a buyer that would like to tour your home. Well, we used to do it, we'd set up a showing appointment. Well, now we're doing that virtually. So Billy, do you want to speak to that for a minute?
Yeah, definitely. So showing time has they came out with a couple steps of how you want to set it up, your listings up in showing time for agents and prospective buyers to be able to know, get access details to that URL link. So their first, their big step that they wanted, that you can add a mass note to all listings that you have in showing time, which you'll do in your edit profile page, where you can just add a note saying that all showing appointments will be done live virtually through the link below. So you can copy and paste your meeting link and paste it into that note, or you can set it up in the access details instead of entering a lockbox code as you would have in the past. You will enter in that join URL link provided from the video conferencing software you decide to use. That way, when an agent wants to set up a showing, they'll, instead of getting the lockbox, they'll get that URL link that they'll be able to join and coordinate the time to set up that live virtual showing that you'd like to set up. And they have a couple other settings. You can change the appointment type to a courtesy call and go, so they don't have to wait for you to admit them. They can just get the access code right away and join the meeting when you're ready to set up that live virtual showing.
Yes, and up on the screen right here, you see we have a front and back PDF that Showing Time has created about how to schedule a live virtual showing, and it has some FAQs, frequently asked questions there as well. And those would be good for you all to have. So those are included here in the PowerPoint for all of you, and you'll be able to go reference these right here for Showing Time, right?
Yep.
All right. Additionally, I want to answer real quick just one of the questions. Someone did post, hey, Zillow, you can search virtual in Phoenix. So virtual in Phoenix as an example, and then request, tour with an agent. So some of the portals then are adapting. I haven't verified that myself, but that's what Jacqueline is saying. Awesome. So virtual is where it's moving. And if you have virtual capability, then you're going to be able to do that. So you're going to want to market it with the MLSs and market it with your customers, as well as, even the web portals. So that kind of covers everything then, having to do with the MLSs. Billy, do you have anything else that we need to add? And I'll look at the chat here. We'll see if there's any other questions on the MLSs.
The one thing to add is when you are pasting that URL link into the MLS, it only, a lot of the MLSs, they've chosen and then selected 12 conferencing softwares that they support. So you're going to want to make sure that you take a look at that list and you're pasting a join URL link from one of those supported platforms, so that the MLS will recognize that it's a virtual, it'll be a virtual open house, and that the link will be clickable for agents to click and have access to your meeting.
Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Billy. Now let's go on to part 3 of marketing. There's 6 steps in the marketing. Part 3 is to use all of the new marketing assets that the marketing team has created for you. So for example, up on the screen, you see that iPad image with the seller big, the buyer agent, the prospective buyer, the seller agent. And so that graphic, that iPad graphic there, is available for you to use in your marketing to start to communicate, hey, I now offer live virtual showings, or I now offer live virtual open houses, etc. You can download these marketing assets at homesmart.com/virtual-open-house. So Emily, if you type that into the chat for me, that'd be great. But let's go look at everything that we've created for you marketing-wise that you can start to use to communicate and market out to your buyers and your sellers, as well as to other realtors. So if you go to the website that Emily just typed into the URL, homesmart.com virtual-open-house, that is the page designed for you, the agent, to go download these marketing tools. We created a second page called homesmart.com/consumer-virtual-open-house. And this is a page then where your consumer can see all the information about how to buy or sell a home without ever having to step outside your front door. So if you're working with a customer, you can say, hey, let's buy or sell your home without having to step foot outside your door. We're going to set up live virtual events, and this is how we're going to do it. You send them here to the web page, and it's going to show them everything about the what is a live virtual open house, what is a live virtual event, what is a live virtual showing, etc. So this page is created for the consumer and for you to use. So that's the first marketing component that we've given all of you. Additionally, we've created signage that is designed to accompany your existing yard sign. This doesn't replace your yard sign. It's designed to accompany your existing yard sign. The idea was that we would create artwork that you could download and take to a local print company, and you could use that super cheap Coroplast signage that goes on a quick little H frame and stick it in the front yard right next to the existing yard sign. So the artwork is available at the downloads page that Emily just typed in for all of you, as well as it's available in the Marketing Design Center inside of Real Smart Agent. And here's what that H-frame yard sign, accompanying yard sign looks like. So imagine you have your typical yard sign in the front yard, and then there's this sign facing the street, and it says, hey, live virtual showings available on this property. Call or text the number on the yard sign to schedule your personal showing. So it references the existing yard sign that you have in the front yard. We did an 18 by 24 version of this, as well as we did a 24 by 24 version of this. So, download this artwork, print it out, put it in the front yard right next to your existing yard sign. We also created a version that could be for open houses. So say you wanted to schedule a live virtual open house on a Saturday between 12 and 3 p.m. You could use this signage, hey, live virtual open house available on this property. Call or text the number on the yard sign for details on this on attending this live virtual open house. What would happen is the customer contacts you, and then at that point you would send them out via text or email, or however you would send them the link or invite them into the live virtual open house between this time and this time, or into the live virtual showing. And so that's why the signage accompanies the yard sign. In addition, we do have a writer right here that we created as well. Live virtual showings available. Call or text the number. Now this is a 12-inch writer. Writers come in a 6-inch tall by 24 inches wide, or 12 inches tall by 24 inches wide. In order to get the photograph of the iPad on there that we want people to see that this is a virtual showing, we made it a 12-inch tall by 24-inch writer. Again, you can download this at the places where Emily is telling all of you in the chat. So, download and start to use the accompanying signage that we've given you. Additionally, up on the screen right here, this is a social media graphic or an email marketing or print marketing graphic that you can start to use. This one happens to be about the virtual open house weekend that is coming soon. And this is a great way to build momentum for the event, or to get your buyers interested in potentially doing live virtual open houses. But then we created 3 different groups of social media graphics. We created a group that talks about live virtual showings. We created a group that talks about live virtual open houses. And we created a group that talks about live virtual realtor tours instead of caravans. But what we did was, when we created these graphics, we also added the wording for the software that you potentially would want to use. For example, posting on your social media right now, you could say, hey, I now offer live virtual showings via Zoom. Or I now offer live via virtual showings via Facebook. Or I'm using that through FaceTime Live or Google Meet. Whatever the software is you're using, you would choose the social media graphic to go along with it. But let's say now you want to do live virtual open houses. What you would do is you would say, choose the live virtual open house version, and then I want to do my open house via Zoom. Therefore, I'm going to use this social media graphic, now offering live virtual open houses via Zoom. If you want to use other software, we created one for Facebook Live. We created one for FaceTime Live, and also Google Meet as well. Now, in addition, we started to create marketing for you to promote maybe doing both. So live virtual open houses on Zoom and FaceTime. So you can market 2 parts of property or of software. And then in addition, we started to do live virtual realtor tours via Zoom and FaceTime as well. So up on the screen right here, these are the screens for the live virtual realtor tours. Well, I'll explain those more in a moment. And then social strategy. So part 3 is, part 1 is go to the webpage, the consumer webpage. Part 2 is, all about the signage. Part 3 is all about the social media graphics. Well, part 4 is when you actually go online and you start to execute social media strategy and you actually participate with us. So that's where you would have and start to use the terms live virtual open house, live virtual showing, a live virtual realtor tour, etc. And you would say, hey, click the link below. So right up on the screen here, this is a screenshot from one of our agents up in Oregon. Why not tour the home from the comfort of your couch? Call me. And then has the listing right there. I love it. And in this case, they actually are using a Matterport virtual tour where somebody can go into the home and actually click and take a virtual tour. using the virtual tour software, or they could market it and say, hey, I have a live virtual showing. Here, one of our agents is taking his first-time homebuyer workshop, but he's taking it virtual. And so he's marketing that. Good job, Kwesi, talking about marketing first-time homebuyer workshop via virtual. And then this is Emilio, out talking out in Rhode Island, about taking things, live showing time, beach mansion, etc., and promoting that. And if you use the verbiage, live virtual showing, live virtual open house, along with your social media, it'll help. So again, right here, this is your the verbiage that you should use when you're marketing these. And here's the screenshot in the example of the agent this weekend that was doing, notice on the left-hand side, it says, simply click on the link below to participate in the live virtual showing open house up until 3 p.m. today. Don't forget to check out the walk-in bathtub. And then it's got the link to get into the Zoom meeting. So that's how you would market it. Then there's actual screenshots of showing how it looked actually when you did market, go into Zoom. And then in your social media posts, how about using the verbiage, do you Zoom, right? Ask me about live virtual showings, live virtual open houses from the comfort of your home. Then you can also, what about this verbiage? Posting on social media. If you can choose your spouse online, you can choose your house online. Talk to me about how live virtual showings or live virtual open houses, I can help you see real estate right now online via live virtual open houses and live virtual showings. Step number 5 is to adopt our hashtag strategy. So in order to make social media posts searchable, if you add hashtags on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, you'll notice that they still work. And these are some Google searches I did about how effective are hashtags on Facebook, how are they effective are they on YouTube, and how effective are they on Instagram. They're very effective. Note one thing, on YouTube, you can only include 3 hashtags. So you'll notice up on the top of the screen right here where it says how to make a custom thumbnail on YouTube with Photoshop, it has 3 different hashtags. Hashtag video MW 18, hashtag video marketing, hashtag creator. And so he's only using 3 hashtags because 3 are the only that are allowed via YouTube. So just make sure you know that. Only use 3 social media posts. All right, so here's the social media posts that the hashtag convention that we would love you all to start using. Hashtag HomeSmart Live, hashtag HomeSmart Live virtual showings, hashtag HomeSmart Live virtual showings, and then this 2-state abbreviation for your state. So this was the original strategy. But as we've had agents using this in the last week, you would use this strategy for virtual showings, you would use this strategy for virtual open houses, and also use it for these terms. But here's what we've learned is that the shorter the versions, the better. And most of the consumers and agents were adapting to hashtag HomeSmart Live, hashtag HomeSmart Live Rhode Island, hashtag HomeSmart Live Colorado, hashtag HomeSmart Live Texas, so TX. So keep it as short and sweet. Adopt these 2 hashtags, hashtag HomeSmart Live, hashtag HomeSmart Live, and then 2-state abbreviation. So start doing those with us. In addition to the hashtags, if you can tag HomeSmart International when you're on Facebook, you'll notice on the screen right there, it says tag @HomeSmart INTL. And so Adam Bauer, our VP of Marketing, he sent me a note that says, hey, if when you're on Instagram, you tag @HomeSmart INTL, the marketing team will basically also reshare and repost your post. And so it just gives it additional viewing throughout the industry. So here's the synopsis of part number 2, which is how to market properties. Use consistent verbiage, market properties in the MLS, use all the new marketing assets, participate in the social strategy and post and comment, etc. Participate in the hashtag strategy, and then marketing all of the above items to the consumer. So big question that we get is, where do I download all of these marketing assets and these tools? Where do I watch previous recordings? So if you go to homesmart.com/virtual-open-house, that's where you're going to be able to, go download all of this material. So right there, those are screenshots that you can see. Whoops, I went backwards. And you can start to see where you need to go download. There you have part 2 of our 4-part series on how to conduct live virtual real estate events. And I invite you back for part 3, which is how to execute and conduct these live virtual showings and live virtual open houses.
Like what you're hearing on The Real Estate? Tell your friends about us. Tell them to check out all of our episodes on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. And don't forget to send any topics you want us to tackle to therealestate@homesmart.com.